Oh, hey there. Come on in. We're just about to start. Welcome to My Wife the Dietitian, a fun weekly podcast about nutrition and healthy lifestyle. I'm Rob, and together with my wife Sandra, we invite you to join us on this informative and entertaining journey through the complex world of healthy eating.
Join us each week as we strive to help you with transforming your overall health and relationship with food through up-to-date, evidence-based nutrition information.
Meat eaters, raise your hands. This episode is for you. Today, we are talking about yet another fad diet that's making the rounds. You guessed it, it's the carnivore diet. According to the proponents of this diet, plants are bad for you, but a big greasy bacon-wrapped steak with a side of duck fat is a healthy alternative. Interesting. Let's take a look at the pros and cons of this diet and see if it makes sense. Enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show. Welcome to My Wife the Dietitian. Hello, Sandra.
Hello, Rob.
What's happening?
Well, we're thinking about the carnivore diet. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to do a bit of a carnivore quiz and talk about what it is, like what foods are allowed.
I think it's more about what foods aren't allowed. Pretty sure I know what's allowed. It's kind of like a one-dimensional diet.
Right.
I'll have the meat, please. Hold everything else.
Yeah, pretty much if it walked, swam, or flew.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Those are your options.
Yeah, and water.
So like when you go to the restaurant, you have to ask for the meat menu.
I guess so. Yeah, I think it's kind of like the middle finger to the plant-based movement.
Yeah, pretty much. Wow.
It's just the complete opposite. And it's like, screw this. I want to do my own thing. And there's other social media influencers out there that are doing it and promoting it. And yeah, I'm just going to eat meat.
And we'll be able to sell a bunch of books and whatever, however it all works. There's always money attached to it too. Drives me crazy. There's so many crazy fad diets, and we've done that. We did an episode on that ages ago, and there was even diets we talked about back then that I'd never even heard about that were wacky, crazy. And there's always someone who thinks they've got the answer. It's like, food hasn't changed that much. I mean, we're still dealing with the same things we've always had, but someone always wants to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, and make money off it too,
exactly.
Right? Market it. And
so, yeah, they're getting pretty absurd in my opinion. It's,
I think the paleo and the keto, it's like the next step. It's like one more level. Mm-hmm. It's, like basically it's the extreme, kind of one-dimensional, as you said. It's like a niche fad.
Oh, it's so crazy.
And it's definitely kind of like the cost. We're going to talk about all of the different elements to consider if you're looking into starting it, or if you know someone who is on a carnivore diet, things to kind of think about.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So, my first question to you is, what are some top concerns you may have with this diet?
There's no veggies.
And no plants.
There's no plants. There's no fiber. There's no grains. There's no variety. There's way too much protein, and probably all the other things you get from meat that are bad for you. That's like, how many do you want me to list? I mean, and not to mention the logistical part. Like when you go to a restaurant, how do you order?
Right.
Like you can't order like, I'll have the hamburger, but hold everything except the patty.
What about a cafe?
And a lot of, a what?
Like if you went to a coffee shop.
Yeah, you can't. What do you order? You can't have anything on that menu. It's just so bizarre. Anyway,
It's very restrictive, like extreme restrictive.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think the claims are weight loss, of course, and improving blood sugar control and increase mental clarity.
I can see those. I mean, there's definitely a lot in the things that you aren't eating that you will benefit from not eating some of that stuff. You know, you'll probably lose some weight. Your blood sugar will be impacted positively, but I don't know that outweighs the, you know, I don't know if there's enough benefit to that. There's so many things you're not getting that your body needs.
Right.
In the long term. And it's probably short-term results. And so you think, ooh, it's working. Whatever, I've lost weight and I feel great and blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to do this forever. But I don't think so. I mean, that's when it's going to hurt you.
Well, exactly. Wow. Holy. You're saying it all. The thing is with most diets, like when people actually get intentional and start to go on some sort of plan or a specific diet that's restrictive, they will probably lose weight because it's very regimented and you know what you can eat and what you can't eat. So that's that it's easy to follow. And, you know, if there's any option of, oh, would you like this salad or would you like some soup? Nope. Like it's easy. Like, so of course you're probably going to lose weight.
Exactly. I bet if you just ate what you would normally eat, like what your normal weekly diet consists of, but you were a bit more regimented, as you said, about when and how much, and you would probably have the same results. Like you don't need to go on these crazy diets and restrict everything because it's not realistic in the long term.
Right. Yeah. And there isn't any long-term studies at all. I mean, this is, it lacks the scientific evidence for health for the long term.
It's cutting edge health.
Cutting steak health. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess there is one population that may follow this. That's the Inuit.
Right.
They don't have a lot of plants to eat in the winter. And they're probably exerting a lot of calories just to get the food if they're hunting seal or...
It's a completely different lifestyle, and I'm sure their genes are a lot different because that's something their culture has always done, right? It's hard to adapt that to, you know, dude who's living in New York City and has a 1-bedroom flat, and you know, it's just not the same. Yeah,
exactly. No, that's right. So your top concerns were that it's restrictive?
That's definitely up there.
That there's no plants. So what does that mean?
Well, there's no fiber.
Right.
There's no, what are the polyphenols? Is that the other one? What's the other thing you get?
Prebiotics?
Oh, well, there's that.
Yeah,
there's
the fiber is
something else you get from plants.
The antioxidants.
Yeah,
and
Those
and
things.
Polyphenols and the phytochemicals.
Right, that's the one.
The plant chemicals.
All that stuff.
The Latin word for plant chemical, phytochemical. Yeah. So I think probably an issue that would come as a result of eating just meat and water would be constipation.
I was going to say you'd have wicked gas too.
Maybe.
So constipation is a meat eating thing?
Well, it doesn't move through you because you don't have any fiber.
Right. Of course.
Fiber helps increase the transit of the stool, like the insoluble fiber.
Well, no wonder you feel full all the time then.
Yeah.
Like literally, I'm full.
Yeah.
Like it's not coming out.
Full of shit. No. Yeah. And then, digestive concerns. And fiber offers those prebiotics, which are the short chain fatty acids that are fuel for the probiotics or food for the probiotics, which are those friendly, good bacteria in the gut that help with our overall gut health. And we know that with plant foods, we're getting a lot of those important gut benefits. And the variety of plant foods and diversity is key to having a healthy gut. So on a carnivore diet, there would be no plants.
So if you're eating something that's, say, a grass-fed cow, Is there anything that ends up in the meat because it's been eating plants? Like the cow's been eating plants. So is any of those, I don't know, the benefits of the plant transferred through to the meat when you eat it?
I guess that's the question, right? Because I mean, that's one of the concerns is it would be low in vitamin C, and because that's primarily comes from plant foods, and
right.
potassium, antioxidants.
I can't recall that. I mean, anyone's talked about meat having the same benefits as plants. I think it's just makes the animal healthier, and so their meat is healthier. Like the meat that you're eating from that animal is healthier, but you're not getting the benefits of the plant in the meat per se, like all the minerals and.
Oh, well, definitely like grass-fed or pasture-raised cattle and cows are a better choice when you're buying meat instead of grain-fed and industrial raised.
Right.
But this is like also the whole point of this carnivore diet is it's quite niche. It's quite almost like privileged only because of the cost.
Yeah, I guess it would be.
And it's almost an elitist type diet because it's obviously not for everyone. Like food is getting much more expensive, especially meat.
Yeah. Although I guess if that's all you're buying, then all your money would go to the meat. And then you could eat, do you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't be spending money on all the other stuff. But yeah, I think it would cost at least as much, if not more, if you're getting quality and a variety of meat. You'd probably buy it like in bulk. Obviously, you'd buy the whole cow.
Probably, yeah, yeah.
Your fridge would look like Jeffrey Dahmer's. It'd just be like full of meat and
fish and eggs.
You can eat eggs,
chicken and butter, but not milk, because milk has lactose.
Oh, weird.
And that's a big part of this is like zero carb.
So what would you put the butter on?
I don't know.
You just lather it on your steak?
I guess so.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's like no carb, high protein.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty extreme.
Yeah, I'll say.
Very restrictive. And what you said about the fact that all the bad parts of the meat. So there's links with cardiovascular disease and elevated LDL, the lousy cholesterol, and triglycerides. So you think of if you're only eating meat, then that might not be good for your cardiovascular health, right?
I would think not. Yeah. Because, I mean, like food all works in conjunction with each other. I mean, I don't have as much of a science background as you do, but it seems to me that there's a reason that we eat things the way we do.
Yeah, like a variety and balance and diversity of plant foods.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So it lacks the fiber, which is obviously going to affect digestive health and possibly increase constipation. There is this likelihood of possible vitamin mineral deficiencies, like with vitamin C and potassium, folate, magnesium, and vitamin E.
I wonder if they're recommending a bunch of supplements. Like if you're on this diet, you need to take all these extra supplements to make up for all the stuff you're not getting. I could see that. Which isn't really ideal because, you want to get it through your food, right?
Well, it's also just the plant matrix of like chewing through the food is good for our feeling satiety and satiation and that connection that you're actually eating. And the first part of your digestion starts in your mouth with your saliva. And while you're eating, it helps with your whole gut-brain connection.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And is it sustainable long-term?
I would say heck no.
It would probably be hard, as you said, like going out to restaurants or being in a social situation. I had a client that had friends that were on the carnivore diet, including their kids, and their son ran and went up and got a grape, like just at the buffet table, and his mom got really upset. You cannot eat that. You can't eat any fruit.
Wow.
And yeah, it just, to me, that seems a bit
drastic, like just extreme, right?
Yeah, it's pretty extreme. I mean, very restrictive.
And the poor kid, like he's feeling like, well, what do you mean? Everyone else is eating grapes. Why can't I eat grapes?
And it wasn't even like, like candy or chocolate or, you know what I mean? Like it was fruit. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it, is how sustainable is it for you to have this restrictive diet for the long term?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're really going to limit your, like you said, the social encounters. Like, can you imagine if we had someone over for dinner one time and we were making something, and I think they said, oh, they were allergic to shellfish, and I had made shrimp or some kind of seafood. They're allergic to seafood. And so I was able to just kind of like throw something else together real quick for this person. But can you imagine if it's like, oh, I'm carnivore? Like, okay, well, I made lasagna. Let me see if I can scrape everything off the meat for you and give you a bowl of ground beef or something and maybe a side of butter. Like you can't just like whip something up that works for, it's a little bit more extreme.
Yeah. And you think of the plate ratio.
Well, it would be, like you said, one dimensional. There's just a big slab of meat on it. It's like the 70s when you used to order a steak in a restaurant, and it would be 90% of the plate would be this big slab of meat, and there'd be like maybe a bit of potato and something green on there if you're lucky.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I just feel like it is a backlash to just conventional wisdom and just the government recommendations and, like.
Yeah. Well, there's so many, like we said in the beginning, there's so many different ideas about what's right. And it seems like everyone's just jumping on the bandwagon of like, oh, I have an idea. Let's write a book about this, and we'll sell this, and we'll get all our social media people to plug this idea, and we'll get some doctor to put his name on it, and everyone will buy it, and we'll make a bunch of money doing like the cheese diet, like you and I talked about jokingly at one point, right? And, at this point, people would probably follow it because they're just so used to these crazy ideas out there, and they go, oh, the cheese diet. Well, that makes sense because you're, however you write it, you could convince people that it's good for them.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's interesting. I mean, paleo and keto are a little bit more balanced in terms of having a little, like they include plants and vegetables and fruits, and the big restriction for paleo, for instance, is if it's made in a factory, don't eat it kind of thing. So a lot of the highly processed foods, like anything that has a label of low fat or diet, or has artificial meat replacers or artificial sweeteners or vegetable oils. But then they also restrict beans, like legumes, and grains, and most dairy.
Yeah.
So it's just, so that's a bit of a
similar
comparison to the carnivore, which is like even more extreme of just cutting out the dairy and all plants.
Yeah. 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 I wonder what it'll be next. Like, do you know what I mean? There'll be some other crazy diet that comes up. I'm curious what it'll be next.
Yeah, it's interesting, eh? And then remember we did the episode with the pescatarian?
Pescatarian diet?
Pescatarian diet, which is vegetarian, like more plant-focused with fish included. Mm-hmm. And that was with Cara Harbstreet.
It was, yeah, Cara Harbstreet.
And that's not, it's not just eating fish. It's eating a whole varied diet with fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, and fish.
Yeah, fish is, you're basically taking out like red meat and chicken, and your meat essentially is just the fish, but everything else is still in there. So, but
that's the whole thing with diets. Like, why do we have to put everything in a box and say we can only eat this and we can't eat this? It's just so.
Like when I grew up back in like, I don't know, the 70s, I guess, diets were. Well, we just talked about this too. There were some crazy diets, but it seems like like a common sense kind of diet was, okay, we're not going to eat junk food. We're not going to eat sweets. We're not going to eat donuts. We're going to cut out that kind of stuff, cookies and ice cream and pop, and we're going to eat healthy. But now it's like, okay, we're often, like we're talking today, we're going to cut out fruits and vegetables, grains and dairy. Like
nuts and seeds and legumes.
Yeah. Like it's like, what?
What's left?
Exactly.
And the promoters are saying basically meat and water. That's what you eat, and that you will feel full, definitely. So that's part of it, is just eat to your satiety, or when you feel full, you stop eating. And then it's definitely simple to follow, I would think. And it simplifies meal planning. That's for sure.
Sure does.
And it would help with your satiety. And it might be good if, say, you're having issues with, like, you're doing an elimination diet because you don't know what's going on for your digestion, or something's going on and you want to do an elimination diet. That might be okay for a very short time period to just, to cut out all plant foods. But it's not nutritionally adequate for the long term. And I do worry about people's like kidney health, for instance, like especially if they have pre-existing kidney conditions or hypertension, high blood pressure. Bone health is a consideration too, because there's likely inadequate calcium with the carnivore diet. Mm-hmm. And just the gut microbiome. So not the diversity of good gut bugs that can thrive in an environment where there's fiber that is offering the prebiotics. So that can, lead to an increased risk of colorectal cancer. And we know that especially processed meats can increase the risk of colorectal cancer and other cancers too. So because if you're eliminating the protective plant compounds, we talked about the antioxidants, the phytochemicals, the polyphenols that you get through plants. And if you're not eating any plants, it's just, Yeah. So what are the pros? What are some benefits of following this diet?
I guess it would make your shopping trip a lot easier.
It's true.
Maybe when your kids ask you what's for dinner, you wouldn't have to think too hard, because it would be the same thing every night. Meat.
Right.
Mom, what's for dinner? Meat.
Oh my goodness.
Packing your lunch would be easy, because you just, grab a chicken breast and can of tuna.
Right.
And a glass of water to wash it all down. I don't know. I just can't. It's just hard for me to get on board with this. It's just so, it's kind of wacky. It's out of my realm of reality. Yeah. No, I get it. It's hard to even come up with some positives in this scenario. Other than I think it's like really easy to follow. You probably will lose weight because there's not a lot to eat. It's, low carbohydrate. And I think it would get boring after a while. I think so. I think it would be, there's no way I could. I like meat. I don't eat a lot of meat. I like meat, but there's no way I could eat just meat every day. It's funny. I've heard on the radio too, they have this question where it's like, if you could only eat like pizza or, I don't know, what was the other one? I don't know. It was like sushi or pizza for every day for the rest of your life. Which one would you pick? It's like, well, I don't think I could eat anything. Just, Yeah. I mean, I love pizza. I love sushi, but I don't want to eat it every day, 3 meals a day for the rest of my life.
No, I know.
And my body doesn't want that either. Like, it's like, it's just, I don't know. Yeah. We need variety.
Humans love variety, taste and texture, just different things. And our gut bugs thrive on diversity of plants and variety. So it's so restrictive. It's kind of like the fruitarian diet that was like not realistic, and how can you survive on that long term? Just fruit. So
well, because like I don't know, there's some animal that does it, so therefore we should do it. That's probably the reasoning, right? I don't know. Who knows where people get these ideas from? But anyway, yeah, use common sense. Just because it says it on, social media or some doctor's put his name behind it, dig a little further than just that. We don't want to get too into it, but common sense. Follow your gut.
Thumbs down for the carnivore diet.
2 thumbs down or 4 thumbs. 4 thumbs down. We're primates. We have 2 thumbs each.
All our paws are down.
Yeah, all down.
And wings.
Yes. So there you go. Exactly. There's our thoughts on the carnivore diet. In case you needed some more encouragement to not jump on board with that.
And I'm excited about eating steak tonight.
You're funny.
But we're having potatoes and a big salad with it too.
Are we really eating steak tonight? That would be great. The irony. So yes, there you go. We
side of kimchi. So there's no fermented foods in this either.
Oh no, they're missing out. All right, we've said enough. You know how we feel. If you want to know more, though, you can go to our website, mywifethedietitian.com. There's lots of information there about good, healthy stuff. What you can eat, what you should eat, and lots of research and information to back it up. So go check that out. You can sign up for a newsletter while you're there, and that is on most of the pages of the website. There's a link for that. You can just hit the link and sign up for free.
And our email is
on there too. Yeah. It's mywifetherd@gmail.com. If you have questions or comments, or you want to tell us how your carnivore diet's going, that might be an interesting.
I'd love to hear that. If someone's doing this, or if they have a friend or an uncle or a dad or a brother, it's a lot of, I've seen in my practice, it's a lot of men that are doing the carnivore diet.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you have experience with it, or if you have questions, or if you've witness somebody doing it, or if you are doing it yourself, and if you're loving it, I want to hear about it. Please let us know.
I bet everyone's loving it, or they'll say they love it because they have to. I want to hear you after a year of doing it, how you're feeling.
I think there is a big tribe, like a lot of people following this. I think there's definitely, community around this diet. So be great to hear from people and what their experience is, and how, like, what the food cost is like, and how is your meal planning, and do you cook with others in the house? Are you making meals for everybody? Do you eat out mostly? Like, how are you doing this? I'd love to hear firsthand experience, because
exactly.
A lot of my experiences with like clients that have brothers or family members or friends that are doing it, and they have concerns, but I haven't spoken to anyone that's actually on the carnivore diet.
Yeah, so there you go. Let us know your thoughts. You can also reach us through social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can leave comments there as well. And don't forget to rate and review the show. That really helps keep things moving forward. It keeps us in the spotlight a little bit, make it easier for other people to find us. And they love hearing what you have to say about our show. It's just a little bit more reason to listen.
If you have one person in your life that you think would benefit from this information, please share the link with them. We have it on YouTube or any of your podcast providers. So just share the episode with them and get others to hear it.
Yes, exactly. So that is it for this week. Thanks again for joining us today. And we will be back on Wednesday with Nutrition Nuggets. So until then, have a great week, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on My Wife, the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.
Bye.